Welcome to issue number 8 of Essentia Live. Today we have with us Jessica Wren, who is the author of Ice. And I have read that book. It was a very entertaining book, and I just want to welcome her. So please welcome Jessica Wren to Essentia Live.
Thank you, Tom.
Why don't you just kind of start off, tell us a little about yourself, how you got to be, what prompted you to become an author, what got you started, and what prompted you to write the book Ice?
Well, I've been writing all my life. I wrote a short story whenever I was in 7th grade. My English teacher graded it. She looked over it and edited it for me and wrote a nice long critique that filled up a whole page. I still have that. It has to be one of my most prized possessions. And ever since then, I've always been writing something in one form or another. About Ice, I was working on it since 2011. I finished it in 2014. I couldn't even begin to tell you how was. Sorry, I couldn't even begin to tell you the inspiration behind it. It's has a lot of different things.
Well,
Mostly, it was.
One of the things I found interesting about it, it's kind of like your typical thriller, but you threw in this mentor, and Mentorville, and this special kind of ability that the people that live there share. Can you tell us how that came about?
Well, the mentor was actually, I read Stephen King's The Tommyknockers. They have something similar going on in that little town that the Tommyknockers takes place in, where they have this telepathic communication that the whole town can pretty much communicate just by mind.
Mm-hmm. I remember reading that, yeah.
And that was the inspiration for it. And I got into magical realism in graduate school when I was studying Latin American literature. So Ice is mostly based on 100 Years of Solitude.
100 Years of Solitude.
Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
That was the villain in there?
I'm sorry?
Can you explain the 100 Years of Solitude?
100 Years of Solitude it's about a very isolated town in Colombia that becomes brutalized by this fruit company that comes in and sells bananas.
Okay.
As I said, it was very loosely inspired.
Yeah. Where did the, in Ice, we're presented with some people that were actually living there, had moved in there. They actually had people move in that didn't share their ability.
Right. Two people.
But they were accepted into the town.
And again, that was two of the two people who lived there who were not lifelong residents were also based on people who were characters in Solitude.
Okay. So
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Finish.
The one, Tom Watson, who moved in and became mayor, he was based on a character in Solitude who he was a seer. What's the word I'm looking for? A clairvoyant.
Like an oracle.
Mm-hmm. Kind of, yeah. Yes, that's it. Thank you. He wrote down exactly how the town was going to play out, how the future of the town was going to play out, and that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
And the other one, name is escaping me at the moment, she's the gardener.
Yeah, I remember the character.
She, her inspiration was from another character in there who was, she'd moved in, she was a beauty queen in another town, but moved in after marrying one of the residents, and she was just really bitter and isolated and shut off. Nobody really liked her. But
in the story, that one of those outside characters had a secret that caused some problems for the town. And that aspect of it was your typical thriller, kind of a crime thriller in a way, that really didn't have a whole lot to do with the mentor thing. What kind of inspired you to go down that road? Are you typically like to write crime thrillers like that, or?
Well, I don't know. One of my first thoughts was, if this ability still existed, then there would be no crime. They'd be able to call out for help. So I had to figure out some way to get rid of it during that time.
Okay. Do you plan to write any more stories based on this town?
Actually, yes, I have a 4-part series, and I am planning a second edition of Ice, in which some of the criticisms, such as the mentor not being a big part of the plot, some of that's clarified. And I'm also planning 3 additional books behind it, because the trilogy I'm working on now, the Sin trilogy, it's dystopian, but it's directly related to this series as well.
Oh, okay.
So it is going to need further development.
For myself, having read Ice, one of the things that I would look forward to is learning more about some of the people there. What we got to see of some of the people that lived there in Mentorville was quite interesting, and I could tell they each had some backstories that we hadn't heard yet. And I thought it would be interesting more about them, to have a little more of their history and their attitudes and personalities. I was just wondering if you say you're writing a series that relates to that, but is there any more about those people in particular, or?
Book number 2 is going to develop the Watson family a lot more, which even though they're not native to the town, they're the main. They're the focus of the story.
Well, what can you tell us about this new series, the Sin series? You said.
CIN. It stands for. It's a dystopian series. It stands for Conference of Independent Nations, and basically it's a UN-type organization that has pretty much taken over the world, and in particular, they've taken over the United States.
Okay. When will the first one of those come out?
I've been trying to get that out forever. I started on it as part of the novel writing month challenge, and this one I don't know.
No ETA yet. Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
The first of the series will be called the Solomon Project, and basically what that's about is young boys have to undergo a series of tests in order to avoid sterilization. And they've got it so that the Southeast province, which under the controlled United States, is 9 of the states from the Southeast.
Yeah.
This particular project is contained to that area, and they've got it so that 15% of males, I got that backwards. 85% of males are sterile. Which they think inbreeding is bad in Mentorville. They got another thing coming now.
Will there be elements of like the crime thriller that Ice was? Would those kind of elements also be in your new books?
There's going to be enough crime to go around.
Okay.
Starting with little hint here, one of the big government officials is hatching a pretty devious plot to kind of counter this project, and I'm hoping readers will say which is the lesser of the two evils, what they're doing or what this government official is doing.
Okay. You've been writing pretty much all your life. Was Ice the first thing you had published? Or?
Yes, it's the first publication.
What else is there anything that you've written in the past that you're planning to bring back? Or?
Well, the little novella I wrote when I was a teenager, I still have it somewhere. I might try to do something with that one day, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, I can't really think of much else. I'll add some links and stuff to Ice and your author page at the end of the video when I put it out. But if there's anything else you'd like to say, maybe you got some advice for other indie authors out there?
Well, as far as advice for indie authors, just keep writing, keep doing what you love.
Okay.
Ignore anybody who tells you you can't, because everybody's got a story.
That's true. Well, thank you for being with us on Essentia Live, Jessica. Pleasure having you with me. And,
thank you, Tom. I enjoyed it.
I look forward to having the interview and seeing you interact with everyone on the actual event page when it comes up here pretty quick. So.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.